Welcome to today's Explainer. We're diving straight into a really profound source text today, one that takes us on an incredible journey into the sacrifices, the immense dedication, and the enduring legacy of the American soldier. You know, we see soldiers in uniform all the time, right? And we immediately think strong, brave, practically unbreakable. But the material we're analyzing today, it asks us to look a whole lot closer. It literally strips away that armor to examine the deeply human element of military service. So, if you're ready to explore the heart and soul behind the uniform, you're in the perfect place. Let's get right into it.
Have you ever actually stopped to think about the exact moment an ordinary person makes a truly extraordinary decision? I mean, that precise instant when a young man or woman decides, I'm going to put on that uniform. It's the moment they decide that the safety of our country, and honestly, the safety of people they will literally never even meet, is somehow more important than their own comfortable life. It's just a monumental psychological shift, and it completely sets the stage for everything we're about to discuss.
So that brings us to Section 1, Answering the Call, and the Hero's Journey.
Before the uniform, a soldier enjoys the exact same familiar life we do, right? We're talking comfortable beds, home-cooked meals, the warm embrace of family. They're everyday citizens with their own personal dreams and hobbies. Yet, they willingly trade all of those comforts for some incredibly extreme realities. Hearing a higher calling, they literally volunteer to stand watch in freezing, pitch-black mountains, or they're out patrolling through blistering desert heat thousands of miles away from home. It's a massive, jarring shift from everyday comfort to just immense physical hardship.
Which leads into Section 2, Transforming the Citizen through a Radical Remaking.
Because leaving all those civilian comforts behind, that requires a totally radical transformation. Boot camp isn't just about, learning how to march in a straight line. It's a systematic reconstruction of the self. The source text really maps this out, showing how it begins by deliberately breaking bodies down to their absolute physical extremes. And this physical crucible, it's expressly designed to build up incredibly resilient minds. The whole goal is forging everyday people into the ultimate guardians of liberty.
Next up, we have Section 3, Facing the Storm, and the Deployment Reality. Once they're actually deployed, the soldier is thrust into an environment that completely defies basic human instinct. Think about it. When alarms sound and sudden danger strikes, our natural, hardwired impulse is to flee, right? To get to safety. But the source notes something amazing. While the rest of the world instinctively seeks safety, the soldier is trained to run directly into the chaos. They firmly, intentionally plant themselves right between everyday citizens and the escalating threats of the world.
So how exactly do they hold that line? Well, our text says they do it by relying on 3 core tenets: pure courage, unwavering honor, and just this unbreakable bond with their brothers and sisters in arms. And they uphold these tenets under unimaginable conditions. We're talking no weekends off, no holidays spent relaxing with family, and honestly, no guarantee of tomorrow. When the rest of the world kind of fades away in the darkness of combat, that unbreakable bond, that literally becomes their lifeline.
But the hardest part isn't always the battlefield. Let's shift to Section 4, the home front sacrifice and the quiet moments.
See, the hardest part of service isn't always the loud, explosive chaos of the battlefield. The source anchors the emotional weight of this whole journey with a really quiet, intimate image. It pictures a soldier looking at a crumpled photograph of their children or their parents, illuminated by nothing but a dim flashlight in a lonely, distant tent. It's powerful, isn't it? It reveals the totally unspoken toll of deployment. The physical danger is loud, sure, but that emotional sacrifice of isolation, that is utterly silent.
And this emotional toll, it creates what the text calls a dual sacrifice. While the soldier's out there missing life's most precious milestones, birthdays, anniversaries, maybe a child's first steps, that sacrifice is being perfectly mirrored back home. The text shines a bright light on the military spouses managing entire households completely alone. It talks about parents praying every single night for a safe return, and kids finding their own strength just by looking at a photo on the wall. The military strength is fueled by the unyielding spirit of those families holding down the fort on the home front. Absolutely, just as much as those on the front lines.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Honoring the Legacy and the Cost of Freedom.
All of these sacrifices we've talked about, they culminate in a pretty stark reality regarding the actual cost of freedom. The author makes a really powerful argument here. They point out that every single right we casually enjoy as civilians, just going about our day, freedom of speech, our daily safety, just basic peace of mind, all of that was directly paid for. And the price? It was paid by individuals totally willing to surrender their youth, their physical health, and sometimes even their lives.
Because of this immense cost, the text really challenges how we as a society view our monuments.
Places like Arlington National Cemetery, for example, they aren't framed here merely as names carved in cold stone. Actually, they're viewed as promises kept. They represent real individuals who step forward to give up their today so that future generations, us, could have our tomorrow. The source absolutely insists that this foundational reality is something we must never, ever take for granted.
To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative question drawn directly from the underlying message of our source. The author argues that it's our duty as civilians to remember these sacrifices. So I have to ask you, how will you ensure their stories of valor are never forgotten? It's a heavy question for sure, but it challenges us all to reflect on how we honor their legacy in our everyday lives. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.